to Larry King now. Our special guest is Lake Bell, actor, director, and writer. You know her from How to Make It in America, Children's Hospital, Wet Hot American Summer, and It's Complicated. Lake stars in Home Again, opposite Reese Witherspoon. That's in theaters September 8th. Shot Caller in select theaters now. And she wrote, directed, and stars in I Do Until I Don't with Ed Helms, Mary Steenburgen, Amber Heard, and Paul Reiser. That's in select theaters September 1st. Other than that, you're not busy.
Yeah.
So what comes first? Are you a writer, director, actor, what?
I will say I'm a mom first.
Correct.
Which I know is like the right answer, but I do mean it. I think before I had kids, I would be like, I'm all work all the time, you know, but now my biggest challenge is managing being not just a mom, but like a good one, like a pretty good mom.
But if they pinned you to said one profession, what would it be?
I feel like I have the privilege to do all of them. So I'm going to say all of them.
So you like them all equally?
Yeah. I think because you can tell the story sort of in multi-dimensional fashion, that is what makes it really sexy and really fulfilling.
Do you therefore take direction well?
I do. And in order to learn, I think, how to give direction well, you have to know how to also ingest direction.
All right, tell me about I Do Until I Don't. It's about marriage, right?
It's about marriage.
Great topic.
It's a topic that I needed to investigate because initially when I started writing the movie, I came at it from a pretty jaded and cynical point of view. There's a myriad of divorces in my life. Certainly early on, I was part of a divorce, my parents. And so when I was growing up, I was thinking, I feel like there's a problem with the system here. Potentially it's just archaic at this point.
So the concept is, do we split after 7 years? Is that it?
Well, the movie actually follows 3 different couples, all at different times in their relationship and different types of relationships. And it's all through the lens of this sort of pretentious documentarian who sort of descends her sort of big world politics and concepts onto a small town. And she is trying to prove her thesis that marriage should be a 7-year contract with an option to renew.
7-year itch.
Yeah, and...
You directed yourself?
I did, yeah.
Woody Allen.
So, yeah, I do enjoy doing that, and it's hard because, I think some people get squeamish seeing their performances, but I just never had that thing. I did another movie called In a World. That was the first time I had directed myself, and it was like...
Yeah, great review.
Thank you, I appreciate that. And it was I wasn't sure if it would work, that I could direct myself, but in the end, I was just kind of like, you just remain objective.
You got Paul Reiser in this and Mary Steenburgen?
The cast is awesome. I feel really lucky. It's when Alice, who my character, she's sort of apologetic in the space she takes up in the world. She's sort of repressed, and her very sexual and open sister Fanny is quite free, and this is the first time that she sort of had something. She gets to be a part of this documentary, and not a lot of really cool things come to Vero Beach, so she's very excited about it. And then she finds out that her sister is in fact doing it too, and there's a lot of jealousy between them. So,
your first film, called In a World.
Yes.
A.O. Scott, the terrific movie critic of the New York Times, called it smart, generous, and altogether winning debut feature with a perfect blend of diffidence, goofiness, and charm. Boy, that must have thrilled you.
That was framed. Yeah, that was a framer. That I have to say I was definitely pretty flattered by that.
Why did you set this movie in Vero Beach?
My Vero Beach is, I have a thing with Florida. I love it. And when I was about 12, my mom moved to Florida with my stepfather, and he wanted to open up a wine company there, and he had this memory of it being really dear to him because Vero Beach was really big in its heyday. It was
famous for the Dodgers,
right? For the Dodgers spring training and 50s and 60s, and so I guess I just have this affection for Vero Beach, and it is the hub of some really interesting cultural events. So, for instance, there's a Windsor polo club there where Prince Charles frequents. There's, so you got Prince Charles, you got like Daryl Strawberry occasionally back in the day, and you got
yeah, interesting.
There's a flight school. Yeah, it's very tiny, but it's of note.
Were you an actress who then wrote and directed? Were you a writer who then acted and directed, or were you a director who then acted and wrote?
I was an actress who was a closet writer who aspired to be a director. So then we all mixed it all up.
What was your first film break as an actress?
I don't know which one is a break. I feel like I've been a slow steady of like taking steps up to figure.
But where we noticed you, wasn't it the Meryl Streep movie?
It's complicated. I feel like What Happens in Vegas was the first like big movie that I did, which was with Cameron Diaz and Ashton Kutcher and Rob Corddry, and that was like, the first time I had been on a really big movie set, and I'd done little indies and I'd done TV.
Our guest is the auteur, we should call her that.
Thank you.
Lake Bell. Coming up, Lake on getting films made and whether she'd take on a blockbuster. Stay with us. We're back with Lake Bell. Love that name.
Thank you.
I Do Until I Don't will be in theaters September 1, right?
Yes.
Historic day for you. Mm-hmm. Do you regard reviews of your directing differently than acting?
I try incredibly hard to not look at them because I don't think, I only look at them if they're good. How about that?
That's
because
good.
I think otherwise it's a path to darkness.
4 years ago, you said, I don't find it hard to make a film because I am a woman. I think if you have a movie to make it. If you happen to have a vagina, that's okay. Still make it. That's what you care. Well, you said that.
You say it better, though. I like that.
Yeah.
Wow.
If you have a vagina, it's okay.
Let's talk about my vagina.
Well, why are women get such a small percentage of... In fact, we have a quote. Women made up 7% of all directors of the top 250 films. That's a 2% decline from 2015, according to a San Diego State Center for the Study of Women in Television.
I think that there will always be a discrepancy, mainly because if we just think about just a pool of directors and half of them are women, and then half of those female directors are moms, those female directors that are also moms will not be able to be as prolific and make as many movies in the year. So already it's inherent to, I think, being that's what I find most difficult to kind of understand.
Well, that's logical.
Yeah, I know. And
like a blockbuster that might take 2 years to make.
I just think, honestly, what needs to change is the kind of how it's couched in society globally, right? Like, to be a mom, it just means you just have to have childcare and the appropriate functioning system on set. Like, why can't that just be a part of the set, Or, because when I think about making my next picture, I'm not going to not make that movie because I now have a 3-month-old and a 2.5-year-old. I want them to see me continue to attack my dreams, and I need to be happy in order for the whole home to be happy, in the same way that my husband has to do the same.
Would you like to do a mammoth movie?
My next picture is a much bigger movie, but it's not a studio picture that's like a...
Well-financed independent.
Yeah, exactly. But I would very much like to do, if it just has to be...
Pirates of the Caribbean.
Yeah. I mean, is this a pitch? Because, let's...
You want to do it?
Yeah, let's do it.
I know people.
Let's talk to some people. Between you and me, I feel like we can get things done.
I'll talk to Jeffrey Katzenberg. You'll do a cartoon.
Great. I love it. I'm so glad that is done.
We have to ask, since you are half Jewish, I am full Jewish.
Okay. So only the good half.
You're Jewish on what side?
Which side?
Mother or father?
Father. That's why, I've never, I can say, L'chaim, but, I don't really know what it means. You know what I mean?
Did you react harshly to Charlottesville?
Of course, yeah, of course. I feel like right now I'm having, with a lot of the country and the planet, I'm having a lot of anxiety, and there is tension in the air. And honestly, I feel a little bit...
Nervous?
I feel like there's very little that I can do, but then I am reassured that the only thing I can do is put a kind spirit out there and in the art that I make. So I Do Until I Don't has inherently, and so did In a World, has an inherently kind spirit, even in its comedy and its message. It is hopeful and sweet at the end. And sure, I Do Until I Don't has kind of like you're thinking, oh, maybe it's going to be a little cynical, but it's actually ultimately, and this is not even a spoiler, but I want people to know that the experience of it and what I want to put out in the universe in a small fashion is respect to thy partner. And
you're pro-marriage.
I'm pro-marriage, I'm pro-commitment, I'm pro-relationship, that everybody, it deserves a chance.
But you say you're nervous. You have to be a little nervous in the era of Trump, aren't you? When someone
of course, I think
so never know what's going to happen next.
Exactly. I think the unpredictability and the, even just as a mom, it's like all I do every day is trying to make my children feel at ease with as much predictability as possible, right? And so for me, as a citizen, I do feel angst and worry, mainly because I think there are so many people disgruntled at the same time, and that cannot be a good thing.
You have a boy and a girl?
Yeah.
The girl's older?
Yeah, she's
The boy's name is Ozzy?
Osgood, yeah.
Osgood?
Yeah.
Osgood, like Ozzy Nelson.
Yeah, like Ozzy. I almost thought, I was like, oh, I don't want to give him any comparisons.
My name is Ozzy and my mother's name is Lake.
Yeah, and his sister's name is Nova. So.
Nova?
Yeah, so we got to...
Nova. You could have named her Lux.
I know, Scotia.
Coming up, Lake on Meryl Reese, on Meryl, Reese, and her guilty pleasures. More with the multi-talented Lake Bell after the break. We're back with Lake Bell. She's got a lot of things going for her. Shot callers in select theaters. Home Again opposite Reese Witherspoon, September 8th. And her own film, I Do Until I Don't, September 1st. You'll see Lake Bell everywhere this fall. You were directed by Nancy Meyers, and it's complicated. Meryl Streep, Alec Baldwin. What makes Nancy so good?
Nancy, I love Nancy Meyers, and she's definitely somebody who has influenced me. I think just seeing her command the epic set that she sort of inspires and invigorates. I think her power is very, very cool. And she knows exactly, she has a tone that's very specific that she adheres to.
Did she affect your directing?
I think, truthfully, the way I learned to direct is being on a myriad of sets and taking from all of the directors I've ever worked with. And I collect little things, yeah. And that's how I learned.
What was it like to play an antagonist to Meryl Streep?
Oh my gosh. Yeah, Nancy has put me in 2 situations where I've played this sort of high status. Yeah, exactly. I play a bitch, really. And
Nancy's daughter directed.
Yeah.
Home Again, right?
But Nancy was the one who called me and said, Hallie and I want you to come and do this.
Is Hallie good too?
She's great. Yeah, I mean, I've never seen a more tremendous relationship between mother and daughter in a creative fashion, because that can be hard. That can be,
All right, what's it like to work with Meryl?
Well, as you said, I had to be very high status with Meryl, and Nancy actually had to pull me off the set and be like, Lake, you need to get it together because you're way too starstruck right now.
And what about Reese?
But wait, let me answer about Meryl, because I just want to say that she, working with her was obviously a dream come true, and she could not have been more hilarious as an actress, but also moving and amazing, and I'll never forget it. And Reese, I'm friendly with Reese, and I feel like she is sort of the most deeply professional, sharp, she's just so damn good at her job. she's just like a racehorse, So I I was lucky to work with her as well.
You've had quite a career. And
Indeed.
it's just burgeoning. We're going to play a little game of If You Only Knew.
Okay.
You don't have to answer them.
All right.
Who was your childhood celebrity crush?
Axl Rose.
S, a secret talent.
I used to be a champion at Limbo at Club Med.
Really?
Yeah.
You could go under.
Yeah, like.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Person you trade places with for a day.
You.
Me?
Yeah, this is kind of fun.
Because
I like these people.
you want to be full Jewish.
I want to be full Jew, and I want to wear suspenders. Braces.
Audrey Hepburn wore them every time I was with her.
Listen, I gotta buy some after this show.
Okay. Guilty pleasure.
Croissants, but in multiples.
Multiples?
Yeah, like I can't, like the guilty part would probably be like 4 croissants.
You don't gain weight, though.
I fidget a lot.
Last time you were starstruck?
When I first walked in here, but now I'm doing okay.
Thank you. Best compliment you ever got? A.O. Scott.
Probably, yeah, I was about to say, I think you just read it out earlier from me.
Weirdest job you ever had?
When I was a promotional model at a tech convention wearing silver, like robot outfits showing people where the toilets were.
Silver robot outfits?
Yeah.
Showing people where the toilets.
It was during college. I was young.
Okay. Favorite vice?
Are croissants a vice?
Yeah, they could be a vice, too.
All right, let's go pastries.
Something you wish you were better at?
Patience.
Strangest fan encounter?
I don't have one.
None.
I can't think of it. You know, I'm like, fan.
Luxury you can't live without?
I have to have a myriad of very high-quality boudoir pillows, like tiny pillows.
Tiny pillows?
Yeah, like small.
You mean thrown on the bed?
Yeah, you know, they're like the smaller ones that you use, and then you can kind of put them over your head, or you can put them under your neck, or rest them here. I like a lot of pillows.
Don't you like big, fluffy pillows?
I like the smaller ones. I am just more, that's
Really?
just my varietal, yeah. Like down.
Something you long believed to be true, but realized wasn't?
Well, someone always told me when I first moved to LA that you take Fountain. You know, that was like the big, that's
the big thing.
Yeah, like take Fountain. Turns out Fountain can get also very trafficked.
Tell me something people don't know about you.
I'm a car aficionado. I like cars a lot.
What's your favorite car?
Lamborghini Miura, maybe, but I like a Detto Mazzo as well.
What got you into cars?
My dad is in race car driving, and he was a collector. And
Did he own a racetrack?
he did. He owned two racetracks, Virginia International Raceway, not anymore, but and New Jersey Motorsport Park. And so I always grew up being very.
You grew up listening to those engines.
Yeah, just all the time.
Blake will answer your social media questions in our final moments. I Do Until I Don't is in theaters September 1st. Can't wait to see it. We'll be right back. We're back with Lake Bell. I Do Until I Don't will be in select theaters September 1st. Before we get to some social media questions, there's a character in I Do Until I Don't who is heavily tattooed, but is afraid of motorcycles.
Right.
That's odd, isn't it? Your husband is heavily tattooed.
My husband is tattooed from here to the toes.
You found that attractive.
You know, you never know who you're going to end up with. And yeah, I thought it was pretty sexy.
What does he do, your husband?
He's a tattoo artist and a fine artist. So he you know, he's the most gentlemanly man I've ever met in my life. So it's funny. He is very unexpected. You sort of see him and maybe you'd be a little nervous. But he is just, he's from the South. He's a gentleman.
How did you come up with the idea to have a tattooed guy who's afraid of motorcycles?
Well, you know, obviously my husband did inspire a little bit of that. That said,
afraid of motorcycles.
He's not. He races them. But that would have been too on the nose. That said, I thought it would be fun to have someone a little unexpected, because I think that people do profile that if you have a slew of tattoos that you have to be some sort of like thug.
Where'd you meet your husband?
We, on this HBO show, How to Make It in America, they would often invite authentic New York characters to be on the show, regardless if they were actors or not. And my character gets a tattoo at one point in one episode, and they were like, let's get this really cool tattoo artist, Scott Campbell. And I was like, that sounds like a good idea. I don't know anything about tattoos. So I met him in the makeup trailer the morning he was shooting, and I was like, hello.
Have you asked your husband why he did this?
I mean, we have gotten into it. And incidentally, I think, first of all, he has an amazing story. His own story is incredible. But he left home at like 15. His mother passed away, and once she passed away, she was kind of his superhero, and he always loved to draw. He was just a really talented. He's like, if I could just do that for the rest of my life, I'd be happy. And so he found a way to do that, and yeah, so he's I'd say, I'm a little biased, but I would say he's the best in the world. I don't even think that's biased.
Couple of social media questions. Jay Fuller, 2326, is there any hope that How to Make It in America will make a comeback?
I am not the creator of that show, so I do not have any power about that, but...
Do you have a hope?
But I do also hope that we do a something, just to kind of give people some closure, because we didn't get to do that.
Judge Natalie wants to know, what attracted you to No Escape, a thriller with Owen Wilson and Pierce Brosnan?
I would say because it's so entirely different than anything I've ever done, because it was a wildly action-packed thriller in Thailand we shot. And I thought, well, the whole point of doing this incredible job is to travel and try new experiences. So that's what it was.
Pierce Brosnan's a great guy.
Oh, I became dear friends with him.
And a very good actor.
Very good actor, solid, strong, handsome man.
Lauren Dubner, what makes you crack up the most on Wet Hot American Summer?
On Wet Hot American Summer, it is just hard not to laugh, because every single person involved is like a tour de force, just steamrolling comedian. So it's very, very difficult. But I think the hardest time to not crack up was doing me and Ken Marino and David Wayne were doing like a sexual interaction of some sort, but all wearing...
A threesome?
Let's say threesome. You get it. But we're all wearing masks of each other. And it was very creepy, but really funny. And I was pregnant. So,
Whoa.
So no, people don't know that. That's some behind the scenes stuff. But I didn't get pregnant from...
Tell me about Shot Caller. Now, Shot Caller, you're opposite Nicole Coster-Waldau.
Yes.
Yeah, he was just
Nikolai,
here.
yeah.
Nikolai.
Oh, he was here?
Yeah, he's a great guy.
Great, handsome,
What is Shot Caller
good man.
about?
First of all, I'm the only lady in this movie because it is just a lot of testosterone. But it's a prison drama. Again, not a comedy.
Oh, yeah, he gets sent to prison.
He gets sent to prison.
A car accident.
Yeah, he gets sent to prison. He's like a normal
becomes,
guy, not a criminal.
Becomes a white supremacist.
Yeah, out of purely survival, because within the prison system, I guess they're...
Who do you play?
I play his wife. I don't play like a prison guard or something. I play his wife, who's like, oh, I'm sad, and other stuff too. I mean, obviously that's very detailed, but I'm his. It's very good. You should see it.
You have quite a life, because you get to do the three things you love, plus the thing most, you're a mother.
Yeah.
But you get to write, get to act, get to direct, and always want to do them, all of them, right?
Yeah, and I think it's nice to, not in a row. I think what I like about making movies is that the way that it's built, the path of it, offers you many different flavors. So writing is sort of lonely and quiet and personal, and therapeutic, and then as you start to produce the project and direct it, there are, casting, you start to build a team and you assemble your comrades, it gets bigger and bigger, and then it's athletic, then you're wearing sneakers because you got to run around, you got a fanny pack, you got things to, it's exciting. And then, it just keeps going, it keeps changing. So.
Great career, great meeting you.
Thanks. Thank you. Thank you for having me here.
I want to thank our guest, Lake Bell. I Do Until I Don't is in theaters September 1st. Home Again is in theaters September 8th. And Shot Caller is out now. Mm-hmm. And you'll find her on Beverly Boulevard somewhere, being in her fourth film called Beverly Boulevard Meets Vero Beach. I don't know what I'm talking about. You can always find me on Twitter at King's Things, and I'll see you next time.